going on, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. It's your girl Bex.
And I'm Carly.
We're here to deliver content to unlock your mindset and actions to be limitless. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Like we always say, ring the bell notification so you can get alerted when we're dropping videos just like this.
Absolutely. Okay, so today, today's person we have picked is in light of recent events that are happening in Afghanistan. Of course, it is very much the main point of news at the moment. As we all know, the history of the Taliban and the unfortunate events that are unfolding with the withdrawal of troops. So we are going to cover Malala Yousafzai, who, as we know, was shot by the Taliban. So Malala is a Pakistani education advocate who at the age of 17 became the youngest person to win the Nobel Peace Prize after surviving an assassination attempt by the Taliban. Malala became an advocate for girls' education when she herself was still a child, which resulted in the Taliban issuing a death threat against her. On October the 9th, 2012, a gunman shot Malala when she was traveling home from school. She survived and has continued to speak out on the importance of education. And in 2013, she gave a speech to the United Nations and published her first book, I Am Malala. So we thought, what an incredible person to touch on, given the current situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy. I was actually listening to an interview with her, I think it was a couple of years ago, and it was before we had said that we were going to touch on this topic. But yeah, she's incredible. She's got a lot of courage, a lot of resilience, a lot of she's very bold. Obviously has courage, but she's very bold, and she's really stood up for what she believes in. And I spoke to you about the Malala Fund, right, which is working for a world where every girl can learn and lead. And I think it's really crazy that that's something that's having to be fought for, because what you and I potentially could potentially take for granted, education, being able to go to work without resistance, that's just a given. We're like, oh, why have we got to go to school?
Your parents get told off if you don't go to school. You know
what I mean? So I think this statement alone is very humbling, actually, because like I said, imagine if we weren't allowed to go to school, college, uni, or even allowed to get a job, like just because you're a female. Do you get what I'm saying? It's crazy that this is even something that has to be fought for.
Yeah, 100%. And I like what you touched on. Like you say, so bold. The bravery of Malala is incredible, because I think she was 10 when the Taliban took over her village. It was in the Swat Valley. It's so beautiful. I think they call it the Valley of Waterfalls. She and obviously with the Taliban taking over, that's, girls, they were banned from school, televisions were banned, playing music, dancing stopped. I think it was 400 schools or something the Taliban destroyed. And her father was a teacher and education advocate and I think he ran an all-girls school. So imagine he'd always, education, you can do whatever you want. And then all of that was taken away. So that's when she then, at 11, became an advocate for women's rights. And she actually started blogging for the BBC under the name Gul Makai. And she basically just spoke about her life under the Taliban. She was nominated for the International Children's Peace Prize. She didn't win that, but she won the Pakistan National Youth Peace Prize as a result of it. Could you imagine doing that? Like, the risk of getting found out doing that, but you know how important it is, your message. Incredible to do it at such a young age.
Was she doing that while she was still in Afghanistan?
While she was still there, yeah. In Pakistan, yeah.
And that's crazy, isn't it? Because I was just reading something about what's going on today, and there was a female news reporter who was warned that she cannot continue the job because of the new regime. It's changed everything, right? And currently, women are not allowed outside without the men, or I think it's called a chadri, which is basically a shroud that's worn by women, covering them from head to toe. and they're like literally collecting the names of men at their houses and stuff, because they have to go to make sure that they're praying 5 times a day and all the rest of it. And it's just like a young girl risking her life way back when, and the fight that she's still fighting is for the same thing, you know what I mean? And it's just like really sad, like what's happening in Afghanistan, man. Like, and I really like Malala's message, is that encouraging girls that their voice actually matters, you know. Absolutely. There's more than 130 million girls that are out of school, and many of which that do not have the skill that they'd be able to go into a workforce. 130 million. And then even more that can't go to work because they don't have the skills.
Wow. It is, you think the work that's been done in Afghanistan over the last 20 years, all over pretty much overnight, could potentially come crashing down. And I know the Taliban are currently saying, no, we will allow women to be educated up to university level, but then there was something about as long as it's within Sharia law. But we've already heard reports of girls being stopped going, girls being killed because they're not wearing the right clothes. Like you say, they have to be chaperoned. So those reports are already happening. And it's just really sad to think what's going to happen. And she was interviewed to kind of ask about it, and she was just saying, you know, obviously her massive concern for the safety and rights of women. And she's attempted to reach out to President Biden. I think she said she hadn't yet reached out to Prime Minister Boris Johnson, but yeah, it's like encouraging people, open your borders, help these displaced people. We need to put something in place for them. And she's absolutely right. It's really sad. But her story is incredible. To think at such a young age what she went through, and this was in Pakistan. But the Taliban had obviously taken over there. And then she was on the bus, and they got on, 2 Taliban fighters got on and said, "Who is Malala?" And then obviously once they identified her, shot her in the head. And she got transported to the UK. She was in a coma for 10 days, I think it was. Thank God didn't suffer any brain damage, but she did obviously suffer paralysis on the left side of her face. But what she's gone on to do is incredible. She graduated last year from Oxford University, which is insane. Yeah. So, you know, and for her to be such an advocate, it only makes sense that, you know, top university, Nobel Peace Prize winner, like just insane. And she's really an inspiration.
Yeah, man, she really is. And like, I was listening to something the other day, and she was saying like she continues to tell her story, not because of what happened to her, but what's happening to millions of girls around the world. Like, because it's not just in Afghanistan, you know, it's all different countries that, you know, potentially, you know, girls are being restricted and stuff. And they were saying about girls' education creates stronger economies, healthier communities, and a safer world. Yeah. And that if every girl, listen to this, if every girl worldwide received 12 years of free, safe, quality education, lifetime earnings for women could increase by 15 trillion to 30 trillion.
Wow.
That is how important that women being educated is. And women with primary education only earn 14 to 19% more than those without, versus those with secondary education earn almost twice as much. So really getting that secondary education in is super, super important. And depriving girls of education, especially secondary, has a dramatic cost for the girls, the families, the communities, and society. There's higher rates of poverty, higher rates of child marriage, and higher rates of infertility rates as well. It's so important that it's amazing that she's actually fighting for that fight. And I would actually reach out to anybody, and we'll drop it down. But if you're looking for something to support, if you really want to make a change, then I think that we should all look to support worthy causes like this that really are gonna 100% find the way that the world works. Like, do you get what I'm saying? I think that is super, super important.
Global reach, isn't it? Yeah. Global reach, it's crazy to think with stats like that. Yeah. And there's still mindsets that are like, no.
I think, and we have to correct it if in our description if it's wrong, but I believe that the G20, I don't know if it's the G20 summit or whatever that part is, but they actually have put education on their board, on their agenda. I'm not sure what year it was, but they actually, for the first time, through Malala and her push and the communities and the charities that she's working with, they've been able to push that and get education on the board and the agenda of the G20, I believe it is. And if you just look at something like that, why is it taken for, like, why is it just not on it? You know, you have to question.
It just seems common sense, doesn't it? Yeah, it just seems such common sense. But like you're saying, like I think, like you're mentioning about encouraging and supporting, I think as well, like we always touch on, is it's such an important thing for parents as well. She was doing an interview with Ellen, and she was saying like how much she puts on her father, and it makes sense because he's a huge advocate for education and being a teacher. And she said her father never clipped her wings. So it's basically to say, go out and just be amazing. Go and spread your wings, do what you want to do. And she actually won the Nobel Peace Prize while she was in, I think it was a chemistry lesson. Her teacher came in to tell her, and she's like, okay, cool, but let me finish my class and then I'll go and do interviews and whatever else. She said, how can I win a prize that's the work of education and then just walk, like, no, it's important for me to finish this and then I'll get, like, incredible to think like that at 17 years old. It's just insane. But like her mom, her dad, really just allowing her to be bold, giving her that space, that encouragement in order to do what she's doing. And the Malala Fund was started with her father, which is really, really incredible.
It's really incredible, like, to think that, you know, you've got all this pressure around you in the countries that you're in. You've got all the pressure to conform to what people want you to do, but you're still brave enough to stand up and say, no, I don't believe in that. I will even take a bullet to the head. Like, do you understand? That is, I will even take a bullet to the head because this is what I believe in. I'm not going to stop talking about it. You're going to do whatever you're going to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do because it's right for me and right for the community and right for my bigger vision. And that's so key about your vision, right?
Powerful.
Having a vision that will that propels you to keep going regardless of all of the noise and regardless of what everybody else is saying, just that you're going to keep going on your mission.
Absolutely. And that was exactly that. When the BBC were interviewing a lady, she says, I don't care what the Taliban are saying or doing. I'm not afraid of them. If they come and kill me, they come and kill me, but I'm standing up for what I believe in. We are all very blessed and lucky. We don't have to be in a situation where it comes down to a matter of life and death. So this is what makes it even more important, where possible, to support or kind of show the way to people. This is what's possible. Do this, encouraging girls, encouraging women, minorities, because this is going on in the world. And this is exactly why we are doing what we're doing at Be Limitless.
Yeah, and you know, I just wanted to touch on another thing that my mom sent me about this lady, Papao. She was pivotal in forming the first Afghanistan's women's football team in 2007.
Oh wow.
And she was saying, like, the last 20 years of women standing up for rights and freedom, we never thought that we would be left alone, right? These women took risk, put their faces out there and everything in regards to football, and now these people are, like, at risk. You get what I'm saying? And it's just, everything is in turmoil, you know what I mean? And it's just like, we really need to just be compassionate as well. That's one thing that I would say, because you know how, like, politics and all the rest of it, right? When you see, oh, we're going to vote for this because of immigration and all the rest of it, like, people leaving their homes, and we spoke about this in the Olympics videos in regards to refugees, people leaving their homes, leaving their countries, fleeing. It's not a choice. It's a matter of life or death. Like you just said, it literally is a matter of life and death. So really have compassion to people and really see what you can do to help, if you can help, if you're in a position to help. If not, just be kind. And that's all I would end the video on, personally.
Absolutely. And I'll just end on this quote from Malala. I truly believe the only way we can create global peace is through not only educating our minds, but our hearts and our souls.
Absolutely. that's a great way to finish the video, Carly. So on that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been your girl Bex.
And I've been Carly. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode, and we will see you next week.
Peace.